when Bhagwan himself has never really rested, then how can we rest when we are Jivatmas, when he lives in us? He only rests in Ksheera Sagara. If you see, that's the only time he's resting. In all his avatars, he's come, he's only worked relentlessly, tirelessly for uplifting humanity, for the greater good. If you recall one of these incidents from the life of Bhagwan Hayagriva, he was resting. He was tired after a very long battle, and he was resting against the trunk of a tree. He was resting against a tree, and then suddenly his bow snapped. Sharang, it snapped, and the string of it slit through his head, basically cut it. And then he was made Hayagriva, a different head was planted, which then went on to narrate Lalita Sahasranama, a story I think I've shared in one of my books earlier. So it's important to do our bit. There is no room for laziness in life, in anything. You can rest, you can relax, you can have your half days, you can have your cheat days, but there is no room for laziness if you really want to make this life worthwhile. And all of us here who've got bodies that function, brains that function, we do have a duty of care towards others. We do have to do our bit. We do have to share our talents, our knowledge, our wisdom with the world. Otherwise, how else will humanity progress? This verse I noted down from Vishnu Sahasranama. Brjishnur bhojanam bhokta, sahishnur jagadadijah, annagyo vijayo jeta, vishvayonihi punarvasu. That Bhagwan is Brjishnu, radiant. He is just glorious. He's always emitting this radiance because he is synonymous with wisdom. He's synonymous with Gyan, with Prakash. Bhojanam. It's a very beautiful word. When we think of bhojan, we think of food, right? But here, bhojanam also means that he is a sole consumer. That the whole universe is his bhojan. He's going to consume absolutely everything. And such is his nature. Brjishnur bhojanam bhokta. He is the sole enjoyer there is in all worlds, in all universes. He's the sole enjoyer there is. Brjishnur bhojanam bhokta sashnur jagadadijah. And Sahishnu, he's just always very polite and extremely patient and tolerant and just very loving. He just has nothing but love and compassion for everything and everybody. He's Sahishnu in such a way that for absolutely everything that he's embedded in the creation, that he's become Vishnu from Sahishnu. And Jagadadijah, he's the origin of the universe, the one from whom the world began. The first seed, Karanam Purva. The first seed, the cause of all causes, and his Anaga, sinless, pure, without fault. He can do no wrong. So when we talk about Devam, when we talk about destiny, the 20% that life is governed by, that can be a significant 20% for some, and that can be not so significant 20% for others. But when we talk about that he is his anaga, he's always pure, faultless, sinless, then we must bear in mind, if we are doing our karma the way we are supposed to, everything else in life is there for a reason. It has happened for a reason. Now, I'm not saying we should give up in fixing the wrong, or we should give up trying to change our circumstances if you don't like them. Of course. But doing so ungratefully, but doing so without looking at the brighter side of life is nothing but extraordinary ignorance, in my view. Vijaya, always victorious. Such is his nature. Jetha, the conqueror. Once he's decided, he's going to conquer it. That's his basic nature. And the one who wins over all, Jetha. Vishwayonihi, the source of the universe, the womb. Mam yonir mahad brahma tasmin garbham dadhamyam. Sambhava sarvabhutanam tato bhavati bharata. I am not only the Bij Pradha Pita, he says. I'm not only just the seed, but I'm also the womb that carries absolutely everything that there is. As he says, Atvabhanaten kim gyaten tavarjana. Vishtabhyaham idam kritsven eko anshen stito jagata. Why do you worry so much? What more do you want to know? Just understand this, that all the creations that have ever existed and that will exist, I hold all of them in a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of my existence. So the world lives in him, and if your world is in God, if your world is in the divine, you'll find it's a beautiful world. You'll find all the little irritations of life on a daily basis, all the challenges, they all have their place there. But if you're trying to bring him into your world, then you are by default reducing the magnanimity of something that was much bigger to begin with. It's much more beautiful and sensible to step into his world, which entails a bit of surrender, a lot of right karma, and understanding that he is a part of the creation, that there are some things I just cannot change. Now, where is the wisdom in then trying to change things that we just know we cannot change, most notably other people? So, Punarvasa. Actually, it's because of this word Punarvasu that I thought I will share this verse with you. Punarvasu means the one who returns again and again. The one who's going to come back again and again. And such is my wish for you, that may you continue to invoke Bhagwan into your lives, and may you continue to invite him again and again and again and again. And whatever you eat, whatever you consume, whatever you think, whatever you do or don't do, everything and anything, may he always be the one constant in all there is in your life. Because then the tiny sapling will one day turn into a giant tree and will merge with the supreme consciousness. No point leaving this planet with just ignorance. Why not do something beautiful with your time while you are here? And such is his glory, as I say, that he is not just great because of his glory. ये नहीं कि उनकी कृपा अनंत है, कि हे ईश्वर, आप इसलिए ईश्वर नहीं है कि आपका वैभव अनंत है, आप इसलिए भगवान हैं कि आपकी कृपा अनंत है. That not only because your glory is unlimited, your grace is unlimited. So, Vrijishnur Bhojanam Bhokta. He's also the Bhojan. This very famous story from Bhagwan Krishna's life, I have definitely shared with you before, so I'm sure you must have heard. But no harm in closing with a nice little thing. So when all the gopis were very distressed, because whenever they would go to Ma Yashoda, she would say, "My Krishna cannot do that. My Khana cannot steal your butter. We are so rich, we are so well off. Why does he need to go into your homes to eat butter? I feed him all the butter he needs." So when they wouldn't agree with her, and when she wouldn't agree with them, and they didn't know what to do, so they all got together. They said, "We have to catch him red-handed. That's the only way." And they had made earlier attempts as well, where Krishna dodged them somehow. Where they said, "We have to catch him red-handed. That's the only way Ma Yashoda is going to believe. And if we catch him red-handed, then he's a thief. He's not just Chitta Chora, he's also Makhan Chor. And then we will give him the treatment a thief deserves." So, but how to catch him red-handed? Because he was very slippery, as you know. And so one day they decided that let's hang the butter pot a little up so he can't reach easily. And on it, let's put a little bell and we'll hide. We'll go in the backyard and hide there. So when Krishna reaches the butter pot, the moment he moves it, the bell will ring. As the bell will toll, we would immediately know it's him and we'll come running and catch him red-handed. Because they were stressed that we work very hard and he does all this. And they said we are okay if he just eats, but he starts distributing it to other people. And before you know, the pot is empty and is broken. And they decided that's the best way to catch him. So they pretended to go towards Yamuna to do their daily chores. And Krishna called all the Gopala. He said, time to go. It's time to lay our siege. And he goes into that gopi's home that day. And as they enter the kitchen, they see the pots hanging quite further up next to the ceiling. I know what they're trying to do, Krishna said. So as usual, you form a little base. I'm going to clamber up, and then I will gently bring the pot down. And all the Gopalas said, that sounds like a good plan. Krishna, all your plans are always wonderful, as we know. So we are not questioning it. We are with you. Let's do it. They do that. As Krishna gets up on the top of the chain and is about to grab the butter pot, he sees there's a bell tied to it. He said, aha, I know the trick. And this bell doesn't belong here. There is no reason why this bell should be here, but it is here. He was Shodash Kala Sampurn, the most wise there is, the most sharp there is, the most intelligent there is. So it was no brainer, it was no surprise that he figured that out in practically a fraction of a moment. And he said, look, I normally don't use my siddhis and I never really show myself, but sometimes for the greater good, I don't mind to feed you butter and the monkeys that are waiting outside. I will make sure this bell doesn't ring. So Krishna just says to the bell, listen, I'm going to put my hand now, okay? Now you have to be quiet. You can't move an inch. And gently he brings the pot down. And the bells, there is tiny bells also hanging by the side. Everything is pin drop silence. And he says, now eat with your mouth closed, otherwise you'll make noise. And he starts feeding everybody butter. So all the Gopalas eat the butter they were supposed to, and they're very happy. Now, when it was almost midway through, Krishna said, now it's my turn. I have to feed myself as well, and then I have to take the rest of the monkeys. But as soon as he took a handful of butter, a fistful of butter, and started to eat it, the bells started ringing. And the big bell started tolling. And Krishna said, oh my God, what are you doing? Everybody else has eaten. And now when it's my turn, you're ratting me out here. That's not nice. And Krishna said to the bell, I told you not to ring. And you were quiet, you did not ring. But now when it's my turn, you're making all this sound. That's not fair. And the bell said, Krishna, look, I honor your word. I do everything you ask of me. You asked me to be quiet, which is just not in my nature. It's in my nature, it's my basic fabric to ring. My swabhavik karma is to ring. So I was only doing what you designed me to do. But I kept quiet because you asked me to. But Krishna, when it's you getting fed, when you are taking the prasadam, when you are taking the bhog, I have to ring. आप भोग लगा रहे हैं, मेरा बजना मेरा काम है, उस समय मैं नहीं रुक सकता. So the bell started ringing, and so he was the sole enjoyer. Bhrijishnur bhojanam bhokta sashnur jagadadi jah. Forever loving, forever smiling, just having extraordinary compassion in his heart for all living beings, for all sentient beings. And he is Punarvasu. He continues to come back again and again. So I hope in your thoughts, in your speech, in your consciousness, in your lives, in your mind, in your actions, in everything that you do for yourselves and others, he continues to come again and again, because that's his nature. As they say, ये तो सच है कि तूने बुलाया नहीं, बिन बुलाए कहीं मैं भी आया नहीं, और प्रेम से तूने खिलाया नहीं, मैं तो विदुरानी के छिलके तक खा गया. It's all a question of what sort of devotion you have in your heart, because then it's not all too far. It's just right here. He's always just 2 fingers short, the length, and just from here to here is the distance. And that's in harmony. Everything else flows.